everybody. Thank you for joining us today. Mauricio, I can't see the chat. Thank you all for joining us. My name is Bryan. I'm guest hosted today.
Hi,
Introduce
my name is
yourself.
Michael. I'm a trainer. I've been here for 2 years, and I'll be answering any questions you guys have today.
All right. So today, by popular demand, we will be talking about direct-to-film. By overwhelming demand, in fact. So today we're going to be using direct-to-film on just on the normal adult platen, not using the heated vacuum platen that was requested. And in addition to that, because we have an extra person in here, I opted to not bring in the heat press because it's already hot enough in this room. So if you guys want to see us actually pressing the shirts with the prints on it, we can show you that next week at the beginning. We can pre-record that. And before we get started with the direct-to-film, I promised to show you guys the wash results from last week. So here's the wash results. So let's do the close-up cam, if we can. So here it is. It's a little bit wrinkly. I did have it kind of bundled up in the corner there, but it washed quite well. You can see no sign of pre-treat square at all. And then same on the red. So the red turned out very nice. No square whatsoever. Oh, thank you. And the white was not compromised by the red either. So I'm quite happy with it. If you guys want to come down to the office and inspect it, you can as well. You're welcome to. That was a joke. Can we play the laugh track? All right. Okay. Moving on. One other thing before we get too far into it, I was recently doing some testing with direct-to-film. I like to test the limits of it. So I thought one thing that was a little bit on the fence was windbreakers. I wasn't sure if the direct-to-film would bond to the windbreaker very well. And here we have it. Got a nice little OmniPrint logo onto there. Turned out pretty good. I'm happy with the results. So I haven't washed it, but I have no reason to believe that this would peel, so it's looking pretty good. Okay, so let's go ahead and get right into it. So, Mike, you want to go ahead and get us started?
Yeah.
Here you are. Here's a sheet. These are hot peel. And walk us through. So, what are we doing right here? So, what are you doing for alignment?
So what I do is I like to set this right in the middle of the platen. No. You see where I'm setting it, how far? I like
Here,
to
we can just pick it up so that they can see. So when we're lining it up, we want it pretty much lined up with the front of the platen here so that we have kind of a uniform line to work on. Sorry, I misaligned it now.
And then what I do to keep it in place, I like to get a piece of tape. You can have double-sided tape. You can put it on the 4 corners. We don't have any right now, so I'm just going to put it in the back.
Yeah, I think double-sided tape would be ideal if you're going to be doing this a lot. But regular single-sided tape will be sufficient if you don't mind the productivity loss.
There we go. And then we can just do our normal height adjustment. So you're on that side.
Okay, so normal height adjustment, function rear. And mind you, we do store these sheets flat. We don't keep them, rolled up or anything. If you're handling your sheets and you notice it's wrinkled or just doesn't lay flat, you do need to manipulate it in such a way that it will stay flat. So keep that in mind. Just as a rule, you do need to examine it and make sure it's going to be flat. You can't rely on it just automatically being flat. Jim has a question. Have you come up with the East Coast Supplies office to order from? No, that's something that is not quite ready yet. So eventually, I'm not saying it's out of the question, but I don't have a time frame for it. And then, before we move on, we do have a variety of deals running right now. Just to remind you guys, we have a package deal, 15% off of supplies. such as ink, pre-treatment, and cleaning solution. You can do that through the store. That's going to be Happy Holidays 15, capital H on both of those. We can drop that in the chat. And then 10% off of 10% off of heat presses, platens, and heat press accessories. That's Hot Holiday. That's a funny code. Hot Holiday 10, capital H is in that as well. So we've got the holiday sweater contest still running. You guys have another week on that. Overwhelming submissions, mind you. So get your submissions in so you can be considered for a chance to win. So please go ahead and email us. You can submit via email, and you need to tag us on social media. Okay, we can go ahead and move on. Let's get started. So we've got the printer ready to go. We're going to do a variety of prints. So we're doing a print to go on some sport shorts,
Nice.
some like polyester, heather color. We've got a nice tank top. It's like a 100% cotton ring spun tank top here. And then we're going to do a tote bag as well. So that's the designs that we're working with today. Or that's the garments we're working with to put the designs on. So I'm going to go ahead and screen share. All right, so we're going to start with this. I found this design on this computer. I didn't make it.
Love
Nice
it.
Krusty Krab
Yeah.
pizza design here for those of you who've seen SpongeBob. We're going to go ahead and we're going to go to the direct-to-film environments. And what Michael was mentioning before we started that he's been running into a lot of people who, let me face this way. We've got a lot of people who are expressing concerns with color vibrancy. Is that right?
Yes.
So on direct-to-film, there's plenty of complaints regarding after you print it, it looks really great. Once you apply it to the shirt, it dulls out significantly. And a good resolution, if you have that issue, is going to be this full underbase color garment environment. If that's still not quite enough, we also have the color garment solids environments as well. So those are going to give you a solid white underbase, and that's going to significantly impact the print. So we're going to do full underbase. I think that'll be sufficient. The Krusty Krab pizza one I want to put on the tank top. So we're going to just do it nice and big because that's a really big tank top. So we're
How
going
do
to
you get that
Oh my
environment?
goodness, that scared them.
My bad.
Who's speaking?
Alex.
Alex. Okay, so these environments, we have them on our Facebook group. Are you in our Facebook group?
No, because right now it's like I'm clicking on my environment and I don't have the one that you clicked on. I think it's the what is it called?
The solid one?
Yeah. Oh, no,
So-
no. Just go back to where it says the environment
Yeah.
mode.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about this one, the underbase one?
Yeah, I don't have that.
Do you just have two options? Or how many choices do you have? Do you have a whole
I
bunch
got
or
four
just
choices. I got the photo, the production, the quality, and the Freejet. That's all I have.
Okay, yeah, sounds like you don't have the direct-to-film environments installed.
Yeah.
So let me have you join our Facebook group. And in the Facebook group under the Files tab, it's going to have the files for you to install.
Thank you.
And then if you have any difficulties with it, you can email myself, Bryan at OmniPrintOnline.com or
Or you can email me, mcerna@omniprintonline.com.
I know.
mcerna.
You have helped me a lot.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so full underbase environment, we're going to do 12.25. Actually, that's bigger than the sheet, now that I think about it.
Yeah.
How big are these sheets?
11, 25 by 16 and a
Okay,
quarter?
so let's do 11 even. Top center. We're going to select the port. Just do a small margin, 0.25. Oh, and gotta remember to mirror the image anytime you're doing the direct to film. We're gonna right click on the image, do a print preview. Looking pretty good. In this case, because the image has a white outline, I don't need to choke the white underbase. If the white underbase, if it didn't have a white outline, we would want to go to image and add white underbase choke. So we're gonna go ahead and print it. And in the meantime, we do have a Florida office in the works, but it's not quite ready yet. So in the near future, there's going to be an announcement for it. All right. So this is going to start printing. We have John raising his hand. Let's hear from you, John.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, going well, thank you.
So I'm following along with my own little job right now.
Okay.
Using the same, I'm doing it on black.
Okay.
Am I able to still use that still environment, or should I go to dark garment? Or black, sorry, black garment.
So you're still doing direct to film, to be clear, correct?
Yeah, I'm doing it. I'm following along the way you guys do it. I just want to try it out with all the settings and see how it, because I've been having issues with your film pulling it hot. So
Okay.
I'm just following along, but I have a job that I need to do. So I'm just going to follow along doing my job using your settings and everything.
Great.
And I decided to use the heated plan. I'm actually doing it on just the shirt plan.
Okay, great.
So it's going to go on a black shirt. Is that environment okay? The one you guys just selected?
Yeah, so that environment is going to be fine regardless of the shirt that it's going on to.
Okay, sweet. All right, perfect.
Okay. All right. Thank you for joining us.
All right, thanks. Bye.
All right, and I see Marco, you've got your hand raised. Let's hear from you, Marco.
Yes. Right before you started the shirt, on this particular one, this design that you're working on right now, they had a white outline going along the design. And I heard you mention that you wouldn't need to do the white choke underbase with that.
That's correct.
Is that because you're working on a white shirt, or what if I'm working on a color shirt? Because the only time that I don't do the white underbase is when I'm working on white. So I was trying to see if it was only because you had the white outline or for some other reason.
So that's a really great question. Ooh, wow, I'm really struggling today. That's a really great question. I'm happy that you asked that. So there's a difference between the white underbase choke and the white underbase. Those aren't the same thing. So the white underbase will automatically print depending on the environment that you select. The underbase choke is the option that you choose by going to image and then add white underbase choke. And the goal of that is to reduce the size of the white underbase by 2 pixels around the edges so that you don't get a white outline if you don't already have one.
10-4, I got you. Hey, got one more question for you.
Sure thing.
A couple weeks ago, I was participating. I was one of the panelists, and I asked a question about doing pre-treatment and printing on colored shirts.
Okay.
And I see that you guys did the video, but when you're doing these videos, I'm at work most of the time. Like right now, I'm kind of sneaking on my phone, being a part of the group because I'm still at work. But I noticed that you guys had already did that video. Is there any way that I can get that link sent to me, or where can I go and review that past video? Because I see it was done on December 8th.
That'll go up onto our YouTube channel. It's in the process of being uploaded.
Okay, thanks a lot.
The link will go into the chat.
Okay, 10-4. Thank you.
Great questions. Thank you so much. All right, so this image is looking pretty good. The white underbase has a little bit of banding. So after this, we're just going to do a head cleaning, and then we can start the next one. Let's see. Any other questions from the chat? Marco, you still have your hand raised. Did you have another question?
No, sir. I'm sorry. Let me lower my hand.
Oh, okay, okay. We
Yeah.
can do it, I think, on our end.
Okay.
All right, Cannon. Let's hear from you, Cannon.
Okay, yeah. On the do you recommend on doing the white underbase on for all the garments, the white shirts too, or no?
Yeah, so what will happen if you don't have a white underbase with direct-to-film is that when you go to apply it to the shirt, it's not enough ink and it'll kind of peel inconsistently from the sheet. So we recommend white underbase regardless of the material you're pressing it on.
Does it do it automatically on the setting, or do you, or does
So
it
we do
with the
we do
environment?
have a white environment.
I believe it's the first one.
Yeah, the first couple of environments on here are the DTF white garment with underbase. So that's the one that you would want to use for that. So it's built
But that
in.
for white.
Yeah, so that's specifically for white.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, because the other thing was I noticed I had a friend do some DTF. He has actual one of those big machines.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, and I pressed the images on a black shirt. The colors just fell in. It wasn't as bright. And not only that, the DTF he sent me, it really feels it almost feels like the white toner type of printing.
Well, that might be exactly what it is. That's how a lot of different companies do achieve their direct-to-film. They'll use a toner type printing.
Yeah, no, his is like direct to garment machine, but it was designed for just doing DTF. It runs through a powder shaker and heater and all that.
Oh,
But
yeah,
I
those.
expected better results.
Mhm.
And I looked at the white and I'm going, man, that white doesn't look that thick on there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a great observation, and I'm glad that you're telling us about that. It kind of does go to show we do make a pretty quality product here, regardless of what you may hear otherwise. I mean, you guys all know we do some pretty cool stuff here. So
One other question.
it's volumes.
Yeah, one other question, Brian.
Yeah.
I noticed that, okay, so we would want to do the choke because you don't want a white outline come when you press, because I know other companies, after I've researched this a lot of companies, they'll use, if they're doing a black shirt, they use a black powder, the glue type set. And I was just curious if you knew anything about that or what the story is with that.
I haven't really messed with the black powder at all, but I don't imagine it really makes much of a difference. If you've noticed, when you press the powder, it turns clear anyway because it's plastic. It's called thermoplastic. That's what the powder is. So
Okay.
when you press it, it turns clear anyway, just because of how thin it gets. So I mean, as far as my experience, I don't see how it would really make much of a difference. It seems kind of gimmicky to me, but I would have to try it and report back.
Well, if OmniPrint doesn't do it, then we won't do it.
Yeah, we don't carry that.
Hey, also, Michael, I'll have you set my, I'll email you if you could make an appointment to set up my DTF environment.
Oh yeah, yeah. Please put your
Okay.
email in the chat.
Because I worked with you before. You're great. All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for chiming in. Jim has a question. Do you do one layer at a time to allow the first pass to dry since you don't have the heated platen? In this case, no. I just have it on layer A because it gives me a little bit more time to chit chat with you guys between prints. The print is already finished. It has the white underbase, and we're gonna go ahead and do a head cleaning actually because of the banding that I was telling you all about. And then we'll go from there once that head cleaning is finished. Can you show what the banding was looking like? Yeah, so I wonder if the camera will pick it up. Can we get the close-up cam?
You want me to maybe lift it in?
Yeah, let's lift it up and see if we can get it to show up. There it is. Okay, is that just totally
That
washed
is
out?
all white. Really washed out.
Let's get a...
Maybe without the sheet or...
Let's just try this camera. It is just way too washed out.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. You can't really tell. It's not really picking it up. I can mainly see it because of the texture. So Yeah, I don't think the camera's really gonna pick it up. So we'll do another one.
Maybe put it in the Facebook group a little later.
Yeah, well, I'll try to get a picture of it on my cell, and then we'll put it up on the Facebook group after the live stream.
What's the Facebook name?
Can we drop a link in the chat? Is that? We'll drop a link in the chat for you.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna get that picture because we're gonna put powder on this here shortly. Let's see. Okay. All right. So this is ready to go. Next, we're gonna do this little circular print. Can you guys still see the computer, or do I need to share it again? Let's share it again. Good to go. Okay, so we're gonna do this design for the sweatpants, the little gym shorts. So first, before I forget, we're gonna mirror it. We're gonna environment DTF, and we're gonna do that full underbase again. So this time, the underbase is particularly important because the garment is like a heather color, so it's like gray stripes. And we really don't want that color showing through on the underbase when we apply it. So first, so this was 8.8. So I'm going to give this like a 9-inch margin. We might have to print this a little bit smaller. This image is actually pretty big. What do you think, like 5 by 5?
Yeah, that should do.
I think that'll be a good size. Let's just do 5 even. And then we'll do top center. I said 8.8. Was that what it was? Let me check again. So it's 8.8 tall. Yeah. So let's just do 9. Whoops. I'm all over the place right now. This is how you guys can tell it's live. Okay, so we have the margins set, so that should be good. Ready to go. Print preview. Since this image does not have a white outline, we would go to Image, Add White Underbase Choke, and click OK. All right, and we're ready to print. All right, let's see how I did the positioning on this one. I think I did pretty good. Jose is asking, should you only do a head cleaning for DTF, or is that recommended for DTG as well? So doing a head cleaning when you see banding is going to be the case regardless of the application. And that's just to help resolve the banding issue. One other thing that I want to bring up kind of on that note, frequently I've seen folks complain of an issue and they describe it as banding, but it's not really banding. So if you've noticed, if any of you guys have used DTF and you get those wispy streaks in the print, it'll look kind of like inconsistent banding. That's going to be basically due to the way the printer is applying the ink. It may also be exacerbated by your nozzle check being a little less than 100%. And so what you would do to correct that, if we can show the computer screen again, do I need to share it again? All right, so to account for that, if you're having that like wispy banding look, you would go to Device Options, and mainly it's on the color layer that you'll see that issue. There's a couple of different approaches to troubleshooting that. I think we have an environment meant to help troubleshoot that as well. But you can also try changing your dot size to large, or you can try your print direction to uni. Either one of those may address the issue depending on what's really causing it in your case. So that should be really important for you guys. Let me see. Aki's asking, yeah, they dropped the new DTF environments in the group. So yeah, it's in the Facebook group under the Files tab for the DTF environments. Okay, so this sheet is all set. We have everything that we need. Now we're going to take it over to our little powder station here. Let me go ahead and move the camera. We can do the close-up cam on it. Let me see if I can get it right there. That's good. Okay.
So I'm going to apply enough powder to cover enough of this print. Let's get a little bit more. And I'm going to work it back and forth. Just a few times.
So not just one pass, you want to do multiple
Yeah, just
to make sure that it's
it
evenly
covers.
coated.
And then when we're done, you can shake off all the excess.
And with this part, I do see a lot of people are being a little too gentle with it. You can really shake the crap out of that thing, and you'll get a little extra powder off that you would otherwise not need. So you can always give that a very vigorous shake.
Yeah, and then you want to see a close-up of...
Someone's got their hand raised? Let me see.
Oh, yeah.
Let me cross. All right, Terry, let's hear from you, Terry.
Yeah, so when you apply the powder, so like I was doing some DTFs last night, and after I applied the powder, it was a full back, all text, and there was powder in between the letters was not coming off. Like, is it possible for that stuff to get statically charged to the sheet? Is there a reason it wouldn't come off very easily?
So that is common. So because it's powder, some of it will just stick to the sheet. If it's in an inconvenient area, a good thing you can do, I'm actually really happy you brought this up. I've been meaning to talk about this previously, is you can take, like, in this case we're going to use a swab, but you can use like a piece of cloth or something, and you can just gently wipe away the powder in that area. It'll come off real easy. You just want to make sure that you don't get it from the actual ink. Inside letters is going to be really tricky. I don't have a good solution for that because more than likely you're going to end up taking powder off of your letters, and that's not what we want.
Right.
So perhaps a more vigorous shaking could be in order. Or perhaps you have a very high humidity in your work area, and that's allowing more powder than necessary. I know our humidity in here is a little bit high, so we got a little extra sticking there, I think, because of that as well.
About.
I'm sure that was a contributing factor in this case.
Okay.
Great question, thank you. In this case, Jim, this is going to be hot peel. This will be our batch number 4 FH. All right, and then so
What is the hot peel?
So hot peel is when you apply it and then you peel the sheet off of the garment to like release the print. You do that while it's still hot rather than waiting for it to cool down. Chris is saying that he'll flick the opposite side of the film to help get the extra powder out from in between the letters. That's actually a really interesting approach. Let's try it here. Yeah. I've never actually tried that before. That could be really good. So we've got, let's see, where do we have we've got some extra powder here and kind of in between the little cog area. So let's give it a shot. Oh my God, it works.
Yep.
Oh, that's cool.
Genius.
Great. Great advice, Chris. That's awesome. Teaching us something today.
Yeah.
Hey. Very good, very good. And then let's see. I think there was another question. The heat press settings for melting. Okay, so that's something that we've addressed before, but it's really important to always address. The goal was initially misunderstood for the powder. So when the product first came out, we did advise that you must melt the powder, and we found that that's not actually the case. So the temperature that we use is 260 degrees, and the goal is simply to cure the ink with the powder on it. You don't need to actually melt the powder. The only situation where you need to melt the powder is if you plan on doing fulfillment for someone else and you need to mail it to them. If you don't melt the powder in that case, by the time it reaches your customer and they're going to press it on, it's not going to have that much powder left and it's not going to transfer right. And oh yeah, so then the times, 260 degrees, you're going to hover it 90 seconds 2 times or just 180. And then for transferring to the garment, you're going to use a medium high pressure 4, 5, 6. Right?
Yeah.
It's 4, 5, 6?
Yeah. 4,
And
5,
then
6.
it's still going to be 260 degrees, 25 seconds. And then if it's hot peel, you peel it as soon as it comes off the heat press. If it's cold peel, then you're going to go ahead and wait for it to cool down to room temperature. And then you can peel it. Really great questions from the chat today, guys. Very impressed. All right, so let's set that one to the side. We're going to do another one here. We're going to do one last design, take any questions in the meantime, and then we'll call it after that. So like I was asking at the beginning, do you guys want to see the process for us applying it to the shirt, or do you guys feel pretty comfortable that you know how that part's done? Jim is asking, so can you press immediately after printing? The answer is yes. So typically we would just take this directly over to our garment and apply it, cure it and all that. So Mario wants to see the hot peel. Yeah, so we can go ahead and record that after this since we don't have the heat press set up in here. Otherwise we would probably die of heat exhaustion over the course of this hour. So we'll go ahead and approach that again. And Canon, in regards to the melting process, so for that, you would take it up 320 or 400, and you would, basically the goal is to completely melt the powder. And it'll feel kind of like, I always described it as like grip tape on a skateboard. And no powder should be coming off on your fingers when you touch it. And that's only if you need to mail it to someone to apply to their garments.
You'll
I
definitely
got another question. This is my first time doing DGT, right? And on this machine, can you do multiples at the same time?
What do you mean?
Or that is more of a design problem? Like an example of having the same image on the same sheet. An example, if the sheet is 11 by 18, can I add it? Can I add multiples on the one sheet using the Omni?
Yeah, that's exactly what we just did. Yeah, we have 2 images on the same sheet. Is that what you're referring to?
something like
2
this.
separate?
No. Kind of like something, something like that, but of the same kind. Instead of doing 2 different.
Like tile it?
Yes.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
totally do that. That's actually where direct-to-film thrives, is very small repeat images. It's really going to be the most productive for those types of applications.
Is that, yeah. Can I do it on our software, like on?
So you would need to bring the graphic into the software ready for that. So you would design it like that on Photoshop or Pixlr or whatever photo editing software that you use, and then bring the image in ready to go.
Okay, I know that this is a stupid question because
No
everybody knew that. Okay.
No such thing as stupid questions. Terry's asking, can I store them for a certain length of time? So with the DTF, because we don't melt the powder, you do need to be gentle with it. You don't want to really stack them up because the powder will kind of get knocked off of the print. So best course of action is to use them the same day. But if you don't get to it, as long as you don't have them stacked up and they're not, the powder's not getting knocked off of it, it should be fine. Jose, we can cover the melting of the powder again in a separate video. I think I've explained it like twice.
Yeah, we can definitely have that shown.
So we have a couple of hands raised as well. Marco, go ahead, Marco.
Yes. So, question that I have is the design that you guys just printed out. The design that you just printed out. Let's say that I wanted to put that design on a 2 or 3X shirt, because I have a lot of customers that wear 2X shirts, 3X shirts, and the issue that I'm having is I'm sometimes not able to provide the services to these customers because my maximum print area is 12 by 17. So how would I conquer that? Like the design that you just did previously, the one on the bottom, the first one that you printed out. How would you guys go about achieving that to satisfy your customers that wear a larger shirt?
So generally, there's kind of a scale factor that applies as you go larger and larger. So we printed this for 2X, that Krusty Krab design.
Yeah.
And basically, the bigger your shirt, the scaling is not necessarily going to be proportional to the size of the shirt. So if you go up one size, you're not going to go up like 1 inch.
Right.
Eventually, the print is just going to be so large it looks funky.
I think you could
Exactly.
also maybe turn the image to the side.
Yeah, you
and
can rotate the image. In cases where it's a circular
So,
image,
it'll just go
really
across
12.5
this
inches
way.
wide is going to be as big as you can go. But for this Krusty Krab one, if I did want to do that bigger, I'm sure I could rotate that and get a little bit more size out of it, for sure.
Oh, okay, that sounds good. And the other gentleman that was before me that asked the question, I believe he was talking about as far as ganging the images up. I actually use that a lot when I'm doing for my inside labels with the company, and just to say, state the specifics on the inside. I'll take one sheet of 13 by 19, and I can do about 30 of my inside labels on that sheet, and I just cut them out as I go to put them inside the collar of the shirts. So I think that's the question that the other gentleman was asking.
I think so, yeah. So that's where really the direct-to-film excels the most.
Thank you, man.
I actually love it from that standpoint right there, because I'm not having to pay people to print my labels anymore. I got sheets and seats just printed out, just ready to go. As soon as I do a shirt, I can put my label in with, put my personal brand label inside the shirt, or put on the sleeve or the back of the shirt with no problem. They're just ready to go like that.
Yeah, that's great.
All right, thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us today. All right, so here's that last print. That head cleaning did wonders. I'm not seeing that banding anymore. It's looking pretty good. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get the powder onto here. All right.
Just work it in again.
So
Making
just
sure
like
to get
before, that back and forth is a really good technique. I find that's really ideal. And then now that we know that flicking trick, that's going to be really valuable, especially for prints like this that have a lot of
spacing.
little
yeah.
details and space in between. That's going to be really good. Let's see. Let's see, Jose's asking, so do you print the color, let it air dry, and then print the white layer? In this case, we didn't need to. Depending on the design, sometimes that is necessary. Excuse me. And that's kind of the reason that the heated vacuum platen exists with the heat part, is to help accommodate that. If your image is white, does it print a white underbase? The answer is yes. We do want it to have that 2 layers of white. 1 layer would be insufficient. That's why even our white environment for pressing onto a white garment does have an underbase as well, because you need that 2 layers of ink for it to transfer quite right. So with the DTF kit, that's going to be this black tray that we're using. It'll be the little scraper. It does not come with those scissors. It'll be this little shaker bottle. In this case, our shaker bottle was empty, so we're not using that today. But that'll help you to apply the powder to it instead of doing the little scooping motion like what Michael's doing. It'll come with 2 baggies of the powder. like so. It'll come with 2 of them. Off the top of my head, it's 100 sheets. Can I get a thumbs up if it's 100 sheets?
Yes, believe so.
Yep, it's 100 sheets. You can either get the cold peel or the hot peel, and it'll come with a little funnel. And we've got the store in the chat there if you want to check it out. Cannon, you've got your hand raised again. Let's hear from you, Cannon.
Yeah, this is going to be off topic for a second. On the DTG side of it, if I'm printing a white pocket, just a pocket logo on a black shirt, how do I get more white ink without having to go the 2080 by 1440? Because I noticed the ink will absorb into the I noticed it absorbs inside the shirt.
So you're saying it's like soaking through to the inside of the shirt, and if you
if I do the 2880 1440, when you go to the when you change that to make it more wider, it absorbs into the shirt.
Okay, so sounds like what you need is kind of like a happy medium. So you can still do the 2880. I'm gonna share the screen on the computer here again.
Okay.
Okay, and you guys can see it now?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right, so what you would do, let's say I've got it at 2880 already. You're going to go to underbase, and you're going to drop it down maybe 10 points, and then print it and see how that turns out for you.
Okay.
So generally, the better approach when you're doing DTG and the white isn't strong enough, generally the better approach is to try more pre-treat. Pre-treat is cheaper than the ink. So adding a little bit more pre-treat will ultimately save you money. In addition to that, just adding more ink to it is not always the best solution. Sometimes that can kind of bite you back when it comes time to wash the garments. You'll get some poor wash results in some cases, and you end up having to spend more time curing the print. So ultimately, it just comes down to the specific scenario, but if you want to add more ink, but the 2880 is too much, that's how you can dial it back.
Okay, now I have one other question.
Sure thing.
I think Michael might be able to help here. So I'm going to be leaving town for 4 weeks. And so what I want to do is I saw on the Facebook chat was the fact that somebody said to go ahead and pull the ink lines out from the ink and then do a power flush to clean out the lines, and then put the and this came from OmniPrint because the person that responded was an OmniPrint person. And then they said to go ahead and take and then put another containers in and put the ink lines in there and run distilled water through the head and power flush. Okay. My question is, and then after that, you're just gonna now, do you leave that distilled water in the lines or just go ahead and power flush it completely out after you're done flushing the ink lines?
I would leave the distilled water in there.
Yeah.
It's not going to hurt the print head?
No. Yeah, we actually want to leave it wet cap too, I would say. Just
Yeah,
because
they did say to wet cap it, but nobody said whether or not you keep power flushing the lines until they empty out of the distilled water.
Yeah, I would keep them in, or the distilled water in the
Yeah,
lines.
keep the water in the lines.
Okay.
Repriming dry lines is going to prove much more troublesome.
Yeah.
Okay, and it won't affect the print head.
No,
No.
Okay, yeah, just wet cap it with the super cleaner, correct?
that's correct.
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, because I think we're going to be gone 4 weeks, and so that's why I wanted the 3 week is, I think that it would start to have problems after 3 weeks. But I noticed after time it will rescind back. The wet cap does go down a little bit when you have it filled up. You understand what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
You want to get back in the
Oh,
shot?
sorry.
Yeah, I can't see it, Michael.
Sorry about that.
He was hiding.
Yeah.
He was hiding.
Yeah, I got another question off topic. How can you just print white only without going back to the cycle again? If you're printing on the black garment and all I wanted is the white, how can you eliminate the 4-color process?
So you would go ahead and so let me share on the
Do you
computer
have the
again.
330TX or the Plus?
330TX.
Oh, well, in that case, you should have a white ink solid environment.
I think the Plus has that, but you can keep
Oh.
that environment in.
Okay, yeah, so we can connect with you afterwards and make sure you're set up with that one. So basically, there's an environment that'll just print white.
Yeah.
Yeah, cause I remember the one day you were showing us how to pause it on the bottom of your queue manager,
Yeah,
and I don't have that.
you don't have
And
the...
nah, I don't.
Okay, so what you can do, you go to View, and hang on one
Queue
second.
Manager.
Yeah, View, Queue Manager, and then Show, and that'll get it for you.
I think there's an option just for Queue Manager to the left.
Oh,
View
yeah, yeah.
options.
So there's an actual tab along the top. Instead of going to View, you just go to Queue Manager and then Show, and that'll bring it up for you.
Thank you.
Sure thing. All right. Cannon, you still have your hand raised. Did you have more questions?
Yeah, I didn't get to finish mine. So back to Michael. So after that distilled water's in, clip it off, wet cap it, and then when I get back, do I just power flush all that distilled out, or correct?
Yeah, what you can do is you can go ahead and empty whatever's in the bottles and then
Okay.
put your ink back in, and then you would have to prime that out.
Prime that out. Now I always call it power flush, but prime it out.
Yeah.
Okay, and that won't affect the pump when if it goes dry in certain areas as it's sucking in air. You know what I mean?
It should be liquid to
yeah,
liquid.
Yeah.
I don't think
There might be
during
a
the
small
process.
bubble,
Yeah,
one
maybe
or
like
two,
a little
yeah,
gap.
but that won't
Well,
hurt
no, yeah, that's my issue. Is that okay? So after I unclip the lines and I got distilled water in there, and I got to get ink back in. So I'm gonna prime out that distilled water. That's gonna leave it to where it's gonna leave it to where there's gonna be air coming through because it's only distilled water I'm priming out. Then I put the ink in the bottles and then go ahead and prime the ink back, right?
Yeah, you would prime the ink back in.
Mm-hmm.
So you can empty out whatever distilled water is in the bottle in the
Okay.
back, and then fill that up with your ink, and then continue that. Just go with that prime, starting from there. That prime.
If you
Yeah.
feel like you need a little bit more direction, we can schedule time.
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah, I just didn't want to prime you. How should I say? Prime distilled water mixed with ink. You know what I mean? So prime the distilled completely out.
That would be fine.
Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah. If there's ink mixed in with it, that would be okay. It's just you don't want to leave like watery ink in the lines. You got to make sure you prime it thoroughly.
Well, then that's why I was asking whether I just pull the distilled completely out
Mhm.
and then put the ink and then start priming the ink into the
Yeah.
lines.
We also have, I believe we have an instruction sheet
Yeah.
that has it all laid out for you. So we can get you that as well. If you want to shoot my phone.
I'll just email Michael the instruction sheet. Yeah, because like I said, I don't want to leave it just wet capped for.
Yeah,
the
no,
ink.
that's important. And that's great of you to bring up.
Okay, great. Thanks.
I can get on call with you.
All
Okay.
right.
Yeah, when we do, yeah, because I need to do it this week. I don't know how soon you could get on call with me.
Oh, I think I'm free Friday afternoon, if that's not too late.
Oh no, Friday afternoon's good. Okay, so I'll go ahead and just request an appointment with you right away. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you,
You
guys.
so much. All right, and then Aki, let's hear from you, Aki.
Hey, I got a quick question. So I print a lot of DTF and like the process works amazing. I noticed in the RIP software, it states that you can print multiple. It asks you how many prints you want to do. Is there a way to print them back to back? Like if they're a small image, is there a way to print it back to back on the same sheet other than actually formatting the sheet in Photoshop prior to, and then just printing multiple images that way?
Yeah, so you can go ahead and let's say you want to do the same image a whole bunch. Let's say I would have you start at one corner. So you would just have your sheet lined up to the corner. That'll probably be easiest. And then let's say it's at 1 inch by 1 inch. So you would have it right there in the corner. You'd go ahead and print it. And then you would, once it's printing, add a 1 and like 1.25 margin. So it'll scooch over. and put a little bit of space between the image, and then you can go ahead and hit print, and it'll basically queue up in the queue manager. And I would say don't do more than like 5 in the queue at a time, and then just let it run. And at that point, you can also put it onto layer D, and it'll go ahead and automatically come back for up to 4 times.
Okay. Is there a way, like, once we when we do the DTF class again, can that like be worked in to show us how to actually do the multiple layer option?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a really great input. I will do that.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right, so that's all for today. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We'll see you next week. Next week, I'm not going to be here, so we're going to have another guest host. It might be Michael. It might be, you guys are familiar with Seraphin. So we'll have a guest host on here, and I'll see you the week after. So you guys have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next week.